time to cut the nonsense. Let's talk MindSense. I'm your host, Meena J.
मन की बातें तो होती रहेंगी. Keep watching MindSense. मैं हूँ आपकी host, Sarita Chan.
And ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਗੈਸਟ ਐਂਡ ਆਮ ਸ਼ੋਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਭ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਰਨਮ ਸਿੰਘ. Thank you.
My pleasure, Meena. Thank you so much, Sarita. Lovely meeting you, ladies.
Yes.
Same here.
Same.
बहुत चंगा लगा. Usually मैं question पूछती हूँ नहीं. आज तुसी मैंने सवाल
ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਾਂਗੇ.
आज हम आपको hot seat पे डालेंगे.
मुझे अपने बारे में बातें करना थोड़ा अजीब लगता है क्योंकि शायद आदत पड़ी हुई है. All these years I am the one asking question, but अच्छा है.
Yes.
मुझे लगता है सवाल जब आपकी बजाय बातें होंगी तो अच्छा लगेगा.
Yes. So बातें.
I know तो हमारे पास तो set of questions नहीं है. हम usually it's in a dialogue.
I love it.
You know.
Yeah.
Perfect.
ਸੋ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਦੱਸੋ ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਿਲੋਂਗ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਕਦੋਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਆਏ
Wow. मैं बिलोंग करदी हाँ चंडीगढ़. यूजुअली इत्थे आके पता लगता है लोग थानू पुछन लगदे कि चंडीगढ़ तो ठीक है पर पिंड केड़ा. So मेरा जन्म मुक्तसर होया सी श्री मुक्तसर साहब ते उत्थे जन्म होया क्योंकि नानके उत्थे सी. और चंडीगढ़ में वड्डी हुई 17 साल दी सी जदों इत्थे आ गई. So
Pretty
it's
young,
been
teenager.
I was young. Yeah. And I think ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਮਰ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਮੀਨਾ ਵਧੀਆ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਿੱਖਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ. You're so eager to learn the new culture, you're eager to fit in. और परवरिश मेरी ਕਿਹੋ ਜਿਹੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋਈ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਥੀਏਟਰ ਬਹੁਤ ਸੀ. ਮੇਰੇ ਫਾਦਰ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਮਾਸਟਰਸ ਇਨ ਥੀਏਟਰ ਸੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਯੂਨੀਵਰਸਿਟੀ ਪਟਿਆਲਾ ਤੋਂ. ਮਮ ਨੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਥੀਏਟਰ ਕੀਤਾ. So ਉਹਦੇ ਕਰਕੇ performing arts was part of growing up. So ਮੈਨੂੰ ਹੋਰ ਕੁਝ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ. ਮੈਨੂੰ ਬਸ ਆਹੀ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਹੈ.
which you're very good at. So it's good. And so ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਏ like you're 17 years old moving to a different country with your family you came.
I came alone. ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਨਾ ਨਾਨੀ ਜੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਸੀ. I came as a student and ਮਾਸੀ ਹੁਰੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਸੀ ਮਾਮਾ ਜੀ ਹੁਰੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਸੀ. So ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਇਕੱਲੀ ਸੀ. Support ਬਹੁਤ ਸੀ. Yeah.
So I know that was like a few years back compared to now when a lot of students come. So how was it at that time? ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਲਈ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਸੀ ਉਹ
ਉਦੋਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਘੱਟ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਸੀ. ਸੋ ਆਪਣੇ ਵਰਗੇ ਘੱਟ ਦਿਸਦੇ ਸੀ. ਔਰ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੌਰਨ ਐਂਡ ਰੇਜ਼ਡ ਬੱਚੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਮੀਡੀਏਟਲੀ ਬੌਂਡ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ. ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਸਿੱਖਣਾ ਪੈਂਦਾ. ਦੇयर इज अ ਗੈਪ. they are born and raised here, you're born and raised there. So it's hard to find friendships and relationships. I feel like these kids that are coming now have so much more support system, which we didn't have back then. I'm glad it's changing. ਪਰ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਿੱਖਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਫਿਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਿੱਖ ਵੀ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ. ਸੋ ਮੇਰੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਚੀਜ਼ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਤੋਂ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ I want to absorb everything. ਮੈਂ ਸਿੱਖਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੀ ਹਾਂ. ਸੋ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਸੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਲਚਰ ਬਾਰੇ ਦੱਸੋ. ਇੱਥੋਂ ਦੀ ਜ਼ੁਬਾਨ ਸਿੱਖਣੀ ਹੈ. ਇੱਥੋਂ ਦਾ ਐਕਸੈਂਟ ਸਿੱਖਣਾ ਹੈ. ਇੱਥੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਜਾਣਨਾ ਹੈ. ਔਰ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਨਾਲ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਤੋਂ ਹੀ ਇਸ਼ਕ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਨਾ. ਇੱਥੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ I just fell in love with this place, especially Vancouver.
I mean I can relate. I came from England and it's not even though I'm born in England but coming here I think I was like late teens. Same thing. It's hard to form a relationship because it's still a different culture. Even though you're from England you speak English but still culture and already friendships form even I found the transition very difficult.
It is challenging.
But I loved Canada, so why did you stay here?
And we're here.
So Taranam, you mentioned that when you came here, it was difficult to form new friendships, which is and you know, what were some of the other barriers or challenges? Did you pursue education here, or like what did you do when you came?
I think challenges. I did pursue education here, but challenges were I think being away from home. You have uprooting. For anybody is very difficult. At 17, all you care about is your friendships and your family. You honestly feel like you cannot live without these friendships. Friends are the most important part of your being. Family is the most important part. I come from a very small family. तो घर में सिर्फ हम 4 लोग थे. Mom, dad, मैं और भाई. तो कभी बाहर फ्रेंडशिप्स जो थी वो भी घर का ही हिस्सा थी. So सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज शायद ये था कि चंडीगढ़ को छोड़ना पड़ा. मेरे लिए मैं हमेशा बोलती थी अपने दोस्तों को मैं चंडीगढ़ कभी नहीं छोड़ूंगी. I'm gonna live here, I'm gonna die here. Like I had a full plan. और कई बार ऐसा लगता है मुझे कि जो लोग नहीं आना चाहते वो जल्दी आ जाते हैं. जो लोग इतनी देर तक ये बड़ी शिद्दत से वेट करते रहते हैं ना कि हमें बाहर जाने का मौका मिलेगा, कई बार उनकी वो विश नहीं पूरी होती. So challenges I think the biggest was being away from the family. 3 साल लगे. मैं अक्सर बोलती हूँ जब भी मैं किसी को मिलती हूँ, anybody who comes here who's new here, I always tell them to give yourself at least 3 years.
Yeah.
It takes about 3 years to just blend in and feel like, okay, maybe this is where I belong.
Yeah, to find that sense of belonging and familiarize yourself.
Right, absolutely.
So ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਆਣ ਕੇ high school I guess ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤਾ?
ਨਹੀਂ, ਮੈਂ high school ਕਰਕੇ ਆਈ ਸੀ. So I went to college here, and that was an interesting experience. ਕਿਉਂਕਿ education system ਇੱਥੇ ਬਹੁਤ different ਹੈ ਆਪਣੇ India ਨਾਲੋਂ. What I was used to anyway. So that was very different. I remember the first day I was going to school in Ottawa. And I called my teacher by, I think I addressed him as sir. And he got so mad at me. Because समझ नहीं आया कि ये हुआ क्या है. Why is that offensive? So it's little things that you need to learn. The thank yous, the pleases, the politeness, it's in our everyday, it's a Canadian thing. The way we are polite beings. And thankfully I had that foundation already, so it wasn't that hard. But yeah, definitely. So many minor changes that are part of our life. We don't even realize that people from outside find that strange. Yeah.
Which I can relate to because in England, in school, we say sir or miss.
Right.
Not by their last names. We don't call them.
And I think in India, we're so influenced by the whole British education system that that's a huge influence for us.
Yeah, so the cultural differences. So ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਆਏ and how did you get into media arts and all this? ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤੀ ਕਾਲਜ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾਂ ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਉਹਦੀ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਸ਼ੁਰੂਆਤ ਹੋਈ ਸੀ?
I think ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਾ ਸਾਇੰਸ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ. ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ I think ਉਹਨਾਂ ਸਾਇੰਸ ਨੂੰ ਪੜ੍ਹਨ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ. ਜਿਹੜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਚੰਗੀ ਲੱਗਦੀ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਜੋ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਕੂਨ ਦਿੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੈਰੈਕਟਰਿਸਟਿਕਸ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਤੋਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ. ਔਰ ਮੈਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਹੁਣ ਸੋਚਦੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹਾਂ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਬਾਰੇ, ਬਚਪਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੇਰੀ ਬੈਸਟ ਫਰੈਂਡ ਘਰੇ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀ and I would take a tape recorder and pretend that I'm interviewing her.
Okay.
And we were in, I think, grade 4, grade 5, and then we would switch roles. So I would pretend I'm a celebrity and she would be interviewing me. So we would record those. I would take a newspaper at the dining table and just pretend I'm reading news. And just want everybody's attention. Okay, mom, dad, nahi idhar dekho, and watch me reading the news. So I think all of that has been part of my being for such a long time. Mom, dad ne jadon rehearsals karniyan hundiyan sigiyan theatre performances diyan. Although I was a little kid, so all the theatre actors were literally just babysitting me. Most of them are in movies now. So I've grown up around that. So I think I've always known that it has to be something to do with the performing arts. I guess I didn't know what. And coming to Canada, I did feel lost in the beginning. Kyunki jo thode relatives kende ne, thode wale uncle ne kehta aa wala course kar lo, thode wale uncle ne kehta aa wala kar lo, and whatever you came for, you're not enjoying it. So it took a couple of years where I felt very lost. I did computers, I did this, I did that, and I just couldn't feel it. And I knew that this was not my calling. And then I heard about BCIT. The Broadcasting and Journalism program. And I registered, but the waiting list back then in 2001, 2002 used to be very long. It was one of the most
popular,
really popular programs. So which was nice, but also that meant that you have to just wait around and see if you are worthy. And then I was watching a show on, I think it was on Shaw actually, where one of the hosts announced that they are launching a new show and they're looking for somebody who can speak Hindi and Punjabi. And I was like, oh my goodness, I can speak Hindi and Punjabi. Why don't I give it a shot? Zero experience. I pick up the phone, I called them, and they said, okay, come for your audition. I gave an audition, and I got it. And it went from being a weekly show on Channel M, which was being launched at that time, an ethnic TV station, to being a daily show on another station, and it was pretty much Canada-wide. So then I decided that, okay, whatever training I'm getting on the job is actually a lot more than what I would be getting at BCIT. So I decided to join the production company, and I learned everything I've learned in the last 18 years has been on the job, literally.
And I think you said such a beautiful thing, and I was listening to you speak as a child. You know what? as adults, if we can listen, if we can actually listen to the kids, they know what their passion is. They're expressing those, but we as parents, or we as the adults in their life, we guide them as to what we want, the expectation we have on the children.
Absolutely.
And I had the similar, thing. I think at age 9, I had the opportunity to go to the only broadcasting station in my country. I'm from Fiji, and I had the privilege of being interviewed as a child on a children's program. And I remember being asked the question, what would you like to बड़े होके क्या करना है, right? तो मैंने कहा मैं Fiji Broadcasting Commission में, I want to be an announcer. So from then, since 9 years old, it was my passion that I want to be, be able to do announcing. So, and then when MindSense happened, and before that I did some radio and all those, with Meena J here.
Right.
So, it's like all the passions come true, and you're right, it's important to pursue your passion.
Absolutely.
Because that's what makes you feel so vibrant, alive, and happy. And
it feeds your soul.
Exactly.
It feeds your soul.
Mm-hmm.
How can you last in anything for such a long time or excel at it if you're not passionate about it? You have to be passionate about it. And I think I'm really fortunate. There were friends around me whose parents were forcing them to do certain things. My parents let us be. We were allowed to express whatever we wanted to do. We were never stopped from doing it. They knew our shortcomings, they knew our strengths, and that really helped. So, and also I feel like we are the blessed ones, because not everybody figures out what they want to do or what feeds their soul early on. So if you listen, if you have the intuition, I think it's there in everybody. But not everybody realizes that. Some people spend their lifetime trying to figure out what is it that feeds their soul. So I feel like I'm God's special child in that sense.
I mean, so like you said, parents, they were in theatres, so very supportive. What about family here? Obviously saying, maybe do this course. This will be good for you, right? So how did they take that when you wanted to? So you went into media and broadcasting full time. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕੀ reaction supportive, or were they like maybe a side te kar la, kuch aur kar la?
No, I come from a very incredible family. I think I now realize the support system around me from the beginning. My Nanaji he was a principal all his life. He's 96 now. My Nana Ji is who I was staying with when I moved here. Nana Ji has been a teacher all her life as well. So I think there was no such कि तुसी आही करना. There were suggestions. There was always like from extended family there was always like नहीं तुसी आ कर लो you know how you said इतने पैसे बनते हैं उतने पैसे बनते हैं आ कर लो. But Nana ji never ever put any bandish जिन्हों कहते हैं कोई भी stop नहीं किया किसी ने. In fact they were very very proud. और creative सारे ने. I think ji thodi creativity kyunki main creative ka jo auni hai. My Nana ji is a writer, Mama ji is a writer. They're really well known in the community. Kyunki I think creativity ਉਹਨਾਂ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੀਗੀ. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਹੈਰਾਨੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਈ that I was also creative. ਹਾਂ ਇਹ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ creativity ਤੋਂ ਰੋਜ਼ੀ ਰੋਟੀ ਕਮਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਫਿਰ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਰਗੀ ਤਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਗੱਲ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ. Not everybody is able to do that. You cannot make a living sometimes out of your passion. You could have a passion and you're doing it on the side, but you're doing something else to support yourself and your family. So I was fortunate in that sense.
So going through, and then also at that time, like a few years back, coming into the industry, how was that? How was your experience, especially Punjabi South Asian community?
It was interesting.
A woman, being a host, broadcasting, coming into the media side.
Right. It's been interesting. It's been a great learning. But I think I've been really blessed to have some incredible mentors along the way. For some reason, they saw the spark in me, and they had more faith in me than I had in myself. Which for a 21, 22-year-old is incredible. If you have somebody who believes in you and who gives you the freedom to be and express, I think it can do wonders. And that was very encouraging. So I was very blessed in that. I have worked in environments where it's been only men, and I'm the only female in broadcasting, and it's been one of the best experiences of my life, I would say. South Asian community has been my backbone.
Yeah.
From day one. It's I have been so blessed because my journey, I feel like मैं ना अपनी community ਦੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਵੱਡੀ ਹੋਈ ਹਾਂ. ਮੈਨੂੰ ਐਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ because I was single when I first launched the first show. ਫਿਰ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਮੇਰਾ ਵਿਆਹ ਜਦੋਂ ਹੋਇਆ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੇ ਦੇਖਿਆ. My first pregnancy was on camera. My second pregnancy was on camera. So everybody's been part of my journey, I feel like, in such a beautiful manner. And the blessings that have come along the way. ਇੱਕ ਦੋ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਬੜੀਆਂ ਅਜੀਬ ਲੱਗਦੀਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਸੀ. I remember ਹਾਲੇ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ, ਮੈਂ ਯੰਗ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਸਲੀਵਲੈਸ ਟੌਪ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਵਗੈਰਾ ਕਰਦੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀ, ਔਰ it was ਸਮਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਲੀਵਲੈਸ ਪਾਉਣਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਕੋਈ ਵੱਡੀ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਉਦੋਂ. ਤੇ I remember somebody saying to me, ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ, ਇੱਥੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨੇੜੇ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ, ਤੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਆ ਕੇ somebody walked in and said, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਤਾਂ ਵਧੀਆ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ, ਕੱਪੜੇ ਚੱਜ ਦੇ ਪਾਇਆ ਕਰੋ.
Oh wow.
And that to me was like, what?
Yeah.
The audacity for a man to walk into, and a really well-known person in the community, to walk into the studio and tell a 21, 22-year-old that you're doing a great job, but you need to wear proper clothes. And I've never worn inappropriate clothes. Whoever's seen me over the years on camera, I've never ever, I'm pretty conservative in the way I am. So that, things like that have been interesting along the way. But overall, so blessed.
Yeah, different experiences.
Yeah.
Like you said, you were single, you got married, you had kids.
Right.
How do you kind of balance your family life, you know, like the art end of your career, like the aspect of it, and also for yourself, giving time, taking care of yourself, your mental health. How do you balance all of that together?
I think balance doesn't come from one person, first of all. I think we need to realize that as women.
Yeah.
We can't do it all.
Yeah, I know.
As much as
we think we should be able to, right?
I mean, we can, a lot of it.
Yeah.
We can do a lot of things.
Multitask.
But again, it comes down to people, you know, around you, and just surround yourself with people who believe in you and who have faith in you and who are giving you the support that you need. And I'm so blessed that my husband, my in-laws, have been there from day one. With Zia, my firstborn, I took 5 months off camera and I went back and I left her behind with my in-laws, and they've been the most incredible people to have, because in this industry, I think the hours are very odd. Sometimes you're working on the not sometimes. Most of the time you're working on the weekends. And then there was a huge social aspect when you become a face of the organization that you're representing. That means a lot of socializing and being out and about and meeting people, representing in the community, emceeing events, all of that stuff. It takes a lot of time. And I think if you don't have a family that believes in you, then you can't do it. So I've never really had to call home and check on the kids. I've never had to really worry about, are they going to be okay? Because I know they will.
Yes.
So and I also know that the family has faith in me as well, that whatever I'm doing is you know, I'm doing it for myself and for them at the same time. So yeah.
Do you live in extended family?
We are, and my in-laws live with us. They've always lived with us, actually. Yeah.
And I think, you know, the pros and cons when you look at that, there's so much, you know, like I said, you cannot do it all by yourself. And I think, you know, in our country, in Canada, you cannot, it's almost not feasible to stay home and just raise your child. You know, you also have to provide for the child. You need to go out there and work and all those stuff. And when you have a family who you can rely on, count on, and who are always there, and you know, when you share the home, you don't have to look at a schedule, oh, I'm going to be dropping you at that time and all those stuff. It works beautifully. It depends on your beautiful relationships that you form with those, you know, with those people.
And I think some of the things that the children can learn from the grandparents, they're so invaluable that we can't teach them those things. So
and vice versa, right? The mainstream culture and all of those, the changing times and all those, like for me, had the same experience like when my parents were living here, and I never heard my mom and dad say I love you. You know, we didn't. But my children, the young children, would say, okay, Nana ji, I want you to say to Nani ji, I love you, and vice versa and all this stuff. So, and then, and then we got so used to it, and my parents would tell me, and so when we go back home, my sisters would complain, how come mom and dad are telling you they love you?
Yeah, they don't tell us.
They don't tell us.
Right.
So it's like, the environment you create, the learning we do from each other, it never ends.
Yesterday, it was my friend's birthday, and I had to step out. Husband's out of town, so the kids had to be with the grandparents. So as I'm getting ready to leave, the kids are having lunch with their grandparents, and I can overhear these conversations, and they're so precious. So the entire discussion was which movie to watch together. And the movies that they are deciding, my 10-year-old and 13-year-old, are the black and white films and the old films, Hindi films that I have not even watched.
Yeah.
So they're actually fighting over, no, should we watch Pyar Ka Mausam or should we watch Sholay? And I was just like, for kids who don't even know the language
So true.
that well, they're having these discussions. How beautiful is that? So they have that with each other. Yeah.
So, like you said, the support system, right, for our mental wellness, and having those support systems in place also enables us to follow our passion
and enhances.
Oh my goodness, how
enhances our lives so
and
much.
just knowing that you have the support, and you don't have to worry about people questioning your integrity, your lifestyle. You have these people who have so much faith in you. Just makes it easier. I think it's so you flourish a lot better. I find.
Yeah, I mean, I've been seeing like on TV and then radio, and I've listened to, some of your interviews, and I was like, wow, it's like, it's somebody who's so natural and authentic, like speaking from the heart. And I think not everybody can do that, but I was like so impressed, just listening to the way you conduct and being so comfortable.
I have to tell you this, Meena, it rarely ever happens that we take the time out to compliment our peers. So one of my interviews, when it aired, I have to tell you guys, Meena was one of the people that actually messaged me, and it was one of the most heartwarming messages. And that is so touching. It takes a lot to compliment somebody who's doing similar things as in your space. How many people can do that? So that,
and I think we need to, right? Because we all appreciate. I mean, I think myself, I just fell into this on the side. I never thought I was a media person, but I would do it, and I enjoy it. And I also, I'm a nurse, I work full time, so that is also my passion. So I do that, but then I look up to you, and I'm like, wow, I want to be that comfortable doing these things, right? So that comfortability, I was very impressed.
Thank you.
So where do we see you in the future? What's going on now, and what's going on in the future? Your plans?
Right. There's a few things that I'm working on right now, and I think it was really important to step back, because I think I started feeling like a hamster on a wheel after a while, because it was getting a lot. I've worked constantly, and I think I needed to just slow down for my mental health. And for myself, physical health and mental health. I think work becomes a priority, and then you have a family. It gets too much. It was getting overwhelming. So a few months ago, I stepped back and said, okay.
And just to interrupt you there, and that's very good that you had that insight, because sometimes when you're in media, you feel the pressure that, no, you must continue.
And to be seen.
Yes.
I think in the media, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, that it's important to be seen.
Yes, exactly.
And if you're out of sight, you're out of mind.
So that was really
I think having confidence in yourself and feeling secure is very important. I've always been a very secure person. I think for this was my sort of an internal thing. I had to pause and say, okay, what is it that's sort of interrupting my day-to-day life in very minute ways, getting more emotional, not feeling exhausted physically and mentally, not being able to give myself fully to my relationships, my friendships. What is it? So then I realized there's been a lot that's being buried in there that I haven't taken care of. Childhood trauma, growing up in a household where mom wasn't fully around. She was left paralyzed with a stroke when I was 7. Growing up too fast, losing my dad 10 years ago. So there's been so many emotions that have been sort of building up that you just keep going. You never take care of those emotions, and there's so many layers that you need to take care of. So I decided to pause a couple of months ago, and I just put a hold on it, and I think it shocked a lot of people because I left when the show its popularity was at the peak. I was doing really, really well, and that's when I pulled the plug and I said, no, I can't do this. I can't keep going, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
So I want to work on a few things, but I think it's going to be a rebirth for myself and for the things that I do. So I don't know what it would be. I'm open. I've put it out there to the universe that I'm ready. So let's see. Yeah.
So Dharandam, I know we just have a few minutes left.
Sure.
Can you share with us what are some of the things you do for your own self-care, for your own personal benefit, for your own mental health and health?
One thing I did recently, which I haven't done in a long time, is started working out again, which has been a miracle. Another thing I've started doing was keeping a gratitude journal. Recently, I bought it a while ago, but I never used it, and it's beautiful. So just self-affirmations first thing in the morning, and keeping a list of things that you're thankful for and grateful for. That I've been doing for the last 3 months, and it's been amazing. Also, I went for therapy for the first time, which I have never been, and that's been amazing as well. I know we're really scared of just peeling the layers sometimes and getting. Half of us don't go to therapy because we don't want to go there. We don't want to revisit.
We think that there's going to be a label attached. We're always afraid of that label.
Yeah, but I think if you don't take care of those emotions, you will never heal. And if you never heal, you can't move on. So I realized that, and I started doing that as well. So
that's great. I mean, just listening to you, and even much more respect, and I look up to you because even having that and being strong and confident enough to say yes, I need to take this time for myself, whether the show is at its peak or not. This is what I need to do for myself, because at the end we do have to take care of ourselves first. So thank you so much for coming and sharing so much with us. It was very nice, and I'm so glad that you were able to come.
My pleasure, and thank you so much for having me as a guest. Sarita, it was a pleasure meeting you.
Yes.
Absolute honor. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So much positive energy she brings into the shows.
Yes, very nice. So keep tuned for next week. This is your host, Meena J on MindSense.
मैं हूँ आपकी host Sarita Chand.